Hello everybody, it's Dread Scooper here again, and I'm here to bring you guys a small video basically showing you guys when I would swing, and this is going to depend on how many strikes you have and how many balls you have, and this is going to be for when you are playing online, mainly because when you're playing online it's harder to get hits, it's harder to obviously do a ton of stuff, so I'm here to show you guys hopefully how to get more hits and just get more runners on base, because I figured out that it's definitely a lot harder and the games aren't as high scoring obviously as offline, which makes sense, and I like that, but I'm here to show you guys kind of how to score more runs, just because I figured out that while I was playing I figured out that the X button on my PlayStation controller, X doesn't really work. X is kind of like an in-between swing of contact and power, which makes it just not, like, great in some situations. I've noticed that when I'm playing, when I use X, it kind of does a whole bunch of random crap, like hit the ball up in the air, straight up, pop flies, or just not, it's just not great. I don't know why, but it's just not. So I'm here to show you guys basically when you should be using each one, and I'm just going to use my lineup as an example. And hopefully you guys can kind of get an idea of how I would be, how you should be approaching every at-bat. With your first guy, or really with almost all of your batters, you should really be taking the first pitch online. A lot of people throw, change-ups in the dirt. It's not so much curveballs anymore, but it's more change-ups in the dirt. They start throwing more I don't really know, sliders outside. They get those like glitchy pitches to work, and sometimes they throw them on the first pitch, and if they see you chase, they'll just keep throwing them to you until you stop chasing. So I would always say on the first pitch of every at-bat, kind of just put your controller down, or that's really all you would do. I mean, until they start throwing you fastballs down the middle, because that's what's going to end up happening. I've noticed that if you take the first pitch every time, after like the fifth batter, they catch on and they're like, well, I'll just throw a fastball down the middle. And, I would look for that. Just keep looking fastball right down the middle. If they don't throw you a fastball right down the middle, don't swing. Because a lot of the time they'll throw a ball. And what's going to happen after that is they are going to throw probably another ball because they're afraid. They think that, the more balls you get, the better chance it is that you're going to get a hit. So they freak out, they throw another ball, and it compounds. So I would say always take the first pitch with most of your batters. Anyways, with Starling Marte, the first thing I would do, normally with a lot of your batters, I would say use power first, just because of the fact that, it does give them a chance at hitting the ball farther. Obviously, I believe it's more of like doubles in the gap too, which kind of annoys me. I don't like the fact that power is used for doubles in the gap and home runs. I think it should only, power should only be home runs really, and then X should be doubles in the gap, and then circle should be just singles, I guess. Singles by the infielders. So, like singles up the middle or something. So, anyways, with Starling Marte, I'm basically always using circle with him. It's just a lot easier to get on base. With him, you don't need to do too much, especially since he has 92 speed. So if you have a lot of speed on your guy, mainly only use circle, just because of the fact that, you don't need to do anything special online. A lot of the time, it's especially if you're a good pitcher, you simply just get a couple runners on base, get things going, and I would only use circle with Starling Marte just because he is your leadoff hitter, and you just need to get your leadoff guy on base. So I'll go to the next guy, which is my created guy, and the reason he's here is because Joe Panic was like a 4 overall the other day. So I normally have Joe Panic here. And as you can see, he has absolutely no power, which means you will be never using power with this guy. Your second guy should really have good contact. That's really it. with him, you want decent speed. Obviously, the fielding stats are completely different, so I'm not really talking about that stuff right now. You want him to have good contact and very good vision. I believe vision is what makes the circle for your bat bigger. At least I'm pretty sure that's what it is. If it's not, someone correct me in the comments below. I'm sure someone will. But anyways, yeah, make sure he has good, decent speed. So 65 is good enough. You know, you're not going to be stealing, but if he gets in the gap, it's an easy double. And he has good contact. So basically, when he's hitting, you only use contact. Maybe even take, the first or second pitch. And what a lot of people will do is they will actually pitch out. I've noticed this lately is some people actually do pitch out if you have a runner on first. And a lot of the time, that's the first pitch, is a pitch out. So I would not send your runner on the first pitch, just because a lot of the time it is a pitch out. And I would wait at least 2 pitches just to see if he actually does try and pitch out. And if he doesn't, then I would probably go on like the 3rd pitch. With Joe Panic, again, you're only using contact. This is where it gets nice, because what you can do is you can do a lot of hit and runs in the situation. You have a speedy guy on first, and you have a good contact hitter up at the plate. You could kind of do something where you steal and bunt. What you could do there is you could steal second base and then also send him to third. A lot of the time, if he's fast enough and if base running is fixed and it's not terrible and he just does a straight line to third, he will make it there. So I would say Joe Panic is a great second person in your lineup. The third guy, this is going to be probably your best hitter. So I'm using Matt Holliday as probably my best hitter. Yeah, he is. So overall, this is going to be I would use X with this guy a lot just because of the fact that Grant, I don't know what X is. I would use probably power with him. I would only use power with someone that has over 85 power, just because it's not, like, if they don't have over 80, it's almost pointless. If they have like 78, it's kind of like, well, I'm not going to really, he won't hit home runs too often online, so I would use power with him, just because you probably have a runner in scoring position right now, and if you hit a pop fly high enough, you can easily hit the ball out and manufacture some runs. But let's say if it gets to an 0-2 count because you missed, or really even an 0-1 count because you missed. If it's an 0-1 count, guys, I would simply just use contact, just because of the fact that he is still an amazing hitter with contact, and he would still hit the ball relatively well, and you don't want to have your third guy getting out. So I would say first pitch, I wouldn't take a pitch with this guy. I would simply say use power right off the bat on whatever pitch you think is the best. And then on your second and third strikes, I would use contact, just because I think that you don't want this guy to get out. You want him to make contact with the ball, and you want him to put the ball in play. And hopefully he doesn't get out. So we'll go on to the 4th guy. This guy's going to be your power hitter, I'm assuming. So as you can see, I would use power twice with him, just specifically because of the fact that his power numbers are so much better than his contact numbers. Now, I have a kind of more stereotypical lineup, guys, so if you guys have a different lineup than me, like let's say if you have Robinson Cano batting 4th, or let's say if you have Eric Hosmer batting 4th. Alright, he's not a power hitter, guys, so, he's more of a number 2 hitter. So I would say, or even a number 3 hitter maybe, I would say, put him, just because he's your number 4 hitter doesn't mean he's an insane power hitter. So if you have Eric Hosmer as your 4 hitter, I would still use contact the majority of the time because he's not going to hit too many home runs. So hopefully you guys understand what I'm saying, and hopefully you guys can figure that out. So with Cespedes, you kind of need at least one good power hitter, just because of the fact that you need someone that can hit home runs. It makes life so much easier. It makes it so much easier just to score runs in general, first of all. Because it's like, it takes one swing of the bat to hit a home run. And in my last game I played, I had 4 runs on 1 hit with Yoenis Cespedes. It was the first inning. I got these 3 guys all on base, and Cespedes came up and hit a bomb to center field, and it was perfect. So you do want at least one power hitter. So I would say power in the first 2 pitches, and then contact on the fourth or third. With your 5th hitter, again, guys, he should be relatively like Eric Hosmer. You don't need your 5th hitter to be a great power hitter, but you want him to be good enough to the point where it's like you're not just going to walk the 4th hitter. You know, no one's going to walk Cespedes just to get to Eric Hosmer. That wouldn't make sense. So hopefully you guys understand that. You want your 5th hitter to basically be your 3rd best hitter in your lineup. So that's what I would say. Eric Hosmer is a great hitter, and if you guys see this video in time, you can easily just go to the captain's screen, and 3 of these guys, or 2 of them, I mean, 2 of them have Eric Hosmer, which is kind of a little annoying. You can get Eric Hosmer here, and you can get Eric Hosmer in the Josh Donaldson one. Once it lets me go left, that's fantastic. So maybe if you have enough tickets, and maybe, can this thing move? Alright, back to my lineup. So we just got done with Eric Hosmer. Basically, well, I guess I didn't say much. On the first hit, I would only use X, just because of the fact that, I mean, I'm assuming X is more doubles in the gap, I think, I hope. Maybe even on the second strike I would use X, but if you have runners in scoring position, you would want to use circle to get those dinky hits, just so you can get more hits. That's kind of the main goal. So we'll go to George Brett next. It doesn't really matter who this, well, it kind of matters. You don't want this guy to be terrible, but you would almost want it to be like a lesser Eric Hosmer with the hitting stats. So for an example, this would be good enough to have as a number 6 hitter. As a number 6 hitter, honestly, 69s across the board would be good enough. So even if you were to have, like, let's say a Brandon Crawford, he's good enough to put in the 6th spot, guys. You're not protecting anybody. But George Brett, pretty solid all-around player, so I put him in there. He's got good vision. Again, if it's a righty, guys, maybe you use power on the first hit just to see if you can get a solid. But again, guys, I would simply just use X or contact with him because, again, you just want to get hits. Online, it's all about getting hits, and then people kind of freak out online. They start throwing random pitches. They don't want to pitch to you. If you get a runner on base, they start throwing balls more because they don't want you to hit the ball. Number 7, guys, this should be, he should be a decent hitter, so it could even be worse than this if you wanted. Ozzie Smith would be a good enough 7th hitter for you. Well, no, Ozzie Smith should be the 8th hitter. But again, guys, this guy should be more, more defensive. But with George Brett, yeah, I would only use contact. So again, with this guy, let's say you have just an average hitter here. You could use X. It really doesn't matter what you use because his power and contact are about the same. So on the first pitch, you maybe can use power. I would not suggest doing it because, depending on the situation, let's say if you have a runner in third base and there's 1 out, or less than 2 outs, maybe use power just to get that guy in so you hit the ball up and whatnot. So hopefully that helps a little bit. This guy doesn't really matter. This guy should basically just be your defensive shortstop, defensive player. Hopefully he's at the shortstop position because that is the most important defensive position. So for him, hopefully he has good speed. That is kind of very important. And hopefully his bunt is pretty decent because with him, it's not going to matter if you, it's not going to really matter if you, I don't know, like get a hit with him. You shouldn't expect to get a hit from your number 8 hitter anyways. It's not like, I don't know, it's not really that important unless you have like a ridiculous lineup where they're all like 99 overalls, and then this video wouldn't be for you. So this is for more people that like don't have all 99 overalls. So with Ozzie Smith, guys, again, only use contact. That's relatively obvious. But I would actually bunt some with him, especially if there's 1 out or less, and if there's like a runner on first. I would bunt with him just because he can get the bunt down with 80 bunt, and he has 82 speed. So maybe if they it's a good bunt and he can get to first base, that's also very nice. But maybe it'd just be to move the runner over. So let's say if my 7-hitter, gets a single to left field or something, and then Ozzie Smith comes up, and I bunt with Ozzie Smith, get my runner into scoring position, and then switch out your pitcher and put in, one of your bench players and say, alright, well, I'll put in Billy Butler, or if it's a righty, I put in Carlos Gonzalez, if he's not sucking complete cock. So, and that's another thing. I'll talk about the pitcher. Guys, if you don't have your best pitcher, or anyway, make sure that you have a good, wow, all of my relief pitchers are doing terrible, or are down. That's fantastic. So guys, make sure that you have a very good bullpen. And that's because this allows you guys to basically switch out your pitcher at will. Your pitcher's going to get up about every 2 or 3 innings. So your starter, maybe the first inning, the third inning, you don't take your starter out. But if your starter's going like 7 innings, guys, that's not good. Your starter should really only get about 1 at bat, okay? What you want to do is basically after like the first at bat, let him pitch again until he gets up. Once he gets up again, you should already have your relief pitchers, once it gets to your 7th hitter, your 6th hitter, start warming up relief pitchers. And then once it gets to your pitcher's turn to hit, sub them in for a bench player. It's obviously whoever your guys' bench player is at the time. Okay. So, and what you want to do is make sure that you have relief pitchers going, because you can easily have 7 relief pitchers. And if all these lasted 1 inning, then that's 7 innings. So, all I'm saying, guys, is, you can let your starter, hit once, but I would not let him hit twice, because it gets to the point where it's like you could easily just get into your bullpen. Hopefully you have a ton of good bullpen guys. I have this guy who I just picked up, and I'm excited to play with him. I have Mark Melanson, who's normally an 89 overall, but today he is not. Who really isn't great, but he's cheap, and his per 9s are pretty solid. His hits per 9 and his home runs per 9 are solid. And Kelvin Herrera, who throws like 100 easily. Very good pitcher online, especially when he throws that changeup too. Tony Watson's a lefty, and he has great stats just all around. Luke Hochaver, 99 break. The only problem with him is he does give up home runs, so you need to keep the ball down a lot. So I'm just saying, guys, make sure your bullpen is stacked. And if you do that, you would never need a pitcher to hit for you. You would never need that, unless you're hitting around, constantly. So, hopefully this is a good video for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Hopefully it helps you out with hitting online, because I found it's a lot harder, and you guys really should be more patient, taking pitches, make him throw you a strike, and hopefully this is a good video for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I know the quality's shitty. It's because this is at my dad's house, and the internet connection at my dad's house is not as good as it is at my mom's house. So, yeah, you guys will probably be able to tell. Hence why I've had 2 different backgrounds in my videos. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please leave a comment on what you think about the video, because that really is the most important thing to me. And hopefully this helps you. Really, guys, the main part of this video is basically just use contact, because that's how you get hits, and take pitches, because guys, I know it sounds annoying, and it is annoying, but baseball's annoying. So hopefully you guys, hopefully this helps you guys out, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.